Excuse me, I have to practice safe sets, so hold on 1 second. It's a joke, you're supposed to laugh. Good evening. My name is Kelsey Storr, and I know that when you heard Kelsey, other than the fact that he said he's a talented guy, but you heard Kelsey, I know you were thinking about 5'3", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, beach bunny. Yeah, it ain't that kind of party. So what you're gonna get is about 6 feet tall, bald, beautiful, wait for it, built for comfort, black man. Take it all in, I'll wait. Yeah. So when you have a name like Kelsey, sometimes people don't know exactly who you are. They're not sure who you are, but they think that you're a female. Now, I went back and I read up on my name. In the 16th century, Kelsey meant river ship. In 1963, it was a boy's name. In 2020, it means I kept the name after the surgery. So you can blame my parents for that, okay? Speaking of my parents are serial matrimonialists. Between my mother and my father, my sisters and myself, we have 11 marriages. I'll wait. So another thing that's going on lately is that, I don't know if y'all know about this, but there's this COVID thing going on. And so everybody's had to kind of go inside. And one of the things that has also happened is you've had the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, we don't get political here, not at all. But I need to explain a couple things to you because I care. This is my civic duty. I decided that I needed to get involved in the struggle. I needed to get involved in the cause. Why? Because my 23-year-old African, that means my biracial child that I'm responsible for, I have 3 of them, so that's 1.5 black people, told me that I needed to get in the fight. I needed to get in the struggle. So I went to a rally out in Prince William County, and I went to a march. Okay, and when I got there, you know, you have all the speakers, and they're doing all their stuff, and they're talking, and they're talking, and they're talking, and that's great. So you had black people there, you had Hispanic people there, you had Asian people there, you had the WWF there. Now, that's not the World Wildlife Fund. That's not even worldwide, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. No. That's woke white folks. There is nothing crazier than seeing a grandma from Burke talking about some Black Lives Matter with her hands up in the air, singing that Lift Every Voice and Sing. So that's the environment that I was dealing with. But I'm standing there and I'm taking it all in, and life is good, and I'm listening to the speeches and I'm inspired. And they said, now we're gonna go for a march. And the march is like 3 miles long. Okay, so we march uphill, and we march downhill, and we march uphill again. And the whole time that we're marching, I can tell you right now, my inner blackness was strong. It was deep. It was spiritual. It sounded like James Earl Jones in my head. And I marched the 3 miles, and everything was cool, and I felt good about myself. I felt good about myself right up until I woke up the next morning, when I had torn the meniscus in my right knee, and that voice that had been James Earl Jones was now Gilbert Gottfried. And all hell had broken loose. So I thought about it. I'm a reasonable man. So I sat there for a while and I said, what can we do better? How can we clean this up? I got it. I'm going to protest age appropriately. For those of you that don't know it, if you're 50 plus, age appropriately means this: write a check. If it's for Black Lives Matter, write your check in black ink. March your check to the mailbox with your hand in the air singing Lift Every Voice and Sing and feeling awfully good about yourself because you are in the struggle. That's what it's all about. Public service notice. If you've noticed, it is fall. It is cooler. Newsflash, white folks, black folks we ain't protesting no more, it's cold. So what we need you all to do in the winter months is take the struggle over. Y'all do the protesting, y'all do the marching. We'll leave a couple of black folks behind so you know what the agenda is, and we'll be back at daylight savings time. I don't think that's too much to ask. Now, another thing that has happened during COVID is television. There's nothing else to do. You can't go anywhere, so I've watched a lot of television. And in watching television, here's what I have learned. I've learned that I'm filled with grievance. My first grievance, Sarah McLachlan. If I hear about another dog, I'm going to shoot myself, and I own a dog. In fact, I got a dog during COVID. My new dog's name is Molly. Now, you might ask, why is my dog named Molly? Because Percocet's too hard to say. But I'm tired of her. I'm tired of the dogs. It just pissed me off. And then there's this. Who has seen the Shriners commercial? Okay? Shriners commercial. They had this kid for years. His name is Alec. Alec has raised so much money for the Shriners. He's raised crazy amounts of money for the Shriners. Speaking of raising money for the Shriners, you can raise money for ASAP by texting 44321 ASAP. But Alec Cabacunian has raised so much money, they have named the basketball court at the Shriners Hospital for this kid. All right? He's been the cute kid forever. You know, he looks at you on television and he says, you can have this adorable blanket for only $20 a month. He's been saying that forever, and everybody's in love with him. And Alec is feeling awfully good about himself. And then puberty caught up with him. And Alec ain't quite so cute no more. So they went out and they got a new kid. The new kid's name is Caleb. Caleb is a shark. Caleb is the smartest little whip you have ever seen in your life. Caleb talks to the camera, looks right at the camera, his eyes twinkle, right? Hits his marks every time. He even wears a bow tie. I hate him. Because every time he's on television, I gotta write a check. Right? But Caleb goes through the entire thing and he looks at the camera, and at the end of it, at the end of his whole monologue, he looks right at the camera, smiles, tilts his little head and says, because we love you. Oh. Alec, on the other hand, is sitting there at the table, and he's got this little tear in his eye. You can see it. I mean, it's good. And he goes like, hey, buddy, that's right on. And inside his head, you know he's saying, you little shit. I hate you. But that's just being selfish. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have given me your time, and I appreciate that. I want you all to have a great evening. Don't forget, ASAP, 44321. This is a great organization that does great things. Thank you so very much. I'm Kelsey Storr. You all have a great evening.